Hello, in today's demonstration, I am going to create a gradation scale with vine charcoal, which is super soft, compressed charcoal, which is soft but denser in blackness, and then I have a 3B charcoal pencil here, which is similar softness to this compressed here, but I can get a more precise line. So let's get started. So first I'm going to start with the vine charcoal, which is basically burnt wood or a twig. And I'm going to snap this a little bit. There's a couple of ways I can do this. I'm going to use the side of it. And that's about as dark as I can get right there. So I'm going to start very dense. And then I'm going to go a little bit lighter, softer pressure to create a gradation scale. Okay, now if I want to blend that, I can use a blending stump. And I'm using the angle of the blending stump, about a 45-degree angle, to move the vine charcoal, blend it a little bit more, move it around, blend it a little bit more. I can keep adding. Actually, I can go a little bit darker. I can add a little bit more charcoal to increase the gradation scale, to increase the value. Okay, so that's the vine charcoal. Now I'm going to go to the compressed charcoal, which is still burnt wood. I don't know how they make it, but it has greater density. It's kind of velvety looking. So again, I'm going to start with firmer pressure, pulling it across, lighter pressure, to create my gradation scale. Again, I can use the blending stump. And if I want to clean this blending stump, I never knew this, but there's a little paddle with sandpaper on there. I could sand the surface down. I think I need to do that. I think it's overdue. Okay, so then I can just fade this out. Sometimes I can use the extra charcoal to just kind of fade it out. Again, I can come back, create greater density at one end. Now you're going to get these little, I don't know what you call, little tailings of charcoal. You don't want to blow on that. It's going to go into the air and you or other people can breathe it. You kind of want to flip your paper and tap it off to the side. Sometimes when you blow it too, it creates little streaks. Okay, so I think you get the idea on that. That is the compressed. Here, I'll use my pencil. Compressed charcoal, vine charcoal. Okay, now I'm going to go to the charcoal pencil. So I'm going to hold my pencil overhand. Same thing, denser at one end. And then fading out. You could also do cross hatching, but that's a whole other lesson. Okay, so denser at one end. You might need to sharpen your pencil as you go. This is a little trickier, actually. Okay, same thing. I could blend it with my blending stump, depending on the effect that I want. I could come back with more precise lines on top if I wanted to give greater definition. And then lighter pressure fading out. Okay, so this is the 3B charcoal pencil. Okay, so then how do we put this all together in a drawing? So I'm going to do a sphere. Here's the vine charcoal. I'm going to pick a light source. I'm going to say it's coming from over here, and the shadow will be over here. So here's my vine charcoal. So this will be sort of the hot spot where the light comes in. Again, I'll shade the back side of my sphere a little more densely and then go lighter towards that hot spot. This is all imaginary at this point, but it's really good practice for shading. Okay, here's my shadow. Darker towards the base of the sphere. Okay, again, I can use my blending stump. Okay, now I'm going to go to, oops, now I'm going to go to my vine charcoal. Again, oh, oops, where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. It's hiding. It's hiding in my gradation scale. Okay. So now I can bring my values up a little bit more dramatically. Again, back to blending stump. And I'm kind of moving in this curved direction to go with the sphere. Okay. I'm actually going to bring in my kneaded eraser here a little bit. So you noticed I accidentally smudged this section and it got a little bit darker. Gosh, just by tapping, I can pick up some of that darker value. I can even kind of lightly move this kneaded eraser around and use it to blend. Going to soften this edge right here. You can see how dirty the paper gets pretty quickly. Okay, now I can come in with even sharper details along this edge of my sphere. And I'm going to go really lightly on this outer curve here. And again, this is just an exercise. We're practicing our shading, which will come into play when we shade other objects. I'm thinking a cone and an apple. So we just want to see pretty much our lightest value, our darkest value, and then grays in between. As you're working with charcoal, a lot of people use Krylon fixative. I don't because it smells terrible. It's pretty toxic. and it's expensive. So I would recommend Aquanet hairspray. It's totally reasonable and doesn't smell as bad. Okay, you can also employ, let's say this drawing needed to be more precise. You can use like, here's this square, super small eraser, or you can use the hard edge of the plastic eraser. Sometimes I carve these with an X-Acto knife to get the point that I want and the precision. And so that is it for creating gradation scales using Vine, compressed, and a 3B charcoal pencil.